Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about a new VOD release, Jiu Jitsu. Before we begin, let me know in the comments if you were looking forward to this or what your thoughts are if you've seen it already, and make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like these reviews. It helps me out immensely if you do that. Also, if you're new here and you like movies, whether it be blockbusters, hidden gems, or everything in between, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases and some classics. But now, let's jump right into it. This stars Alain Moussi as Jake, a man part of an ancient order of Jiu Jitsu fighters who suffers amnesia and forgets his identity and his colleagues. However, he's chosen as one of 9 fighters to take on an alien proficient in Jiu Jitsu who arrives on Earth once every 6 years. And now, as he struggles to remember who he is, the fate of the world rests on his and his colleagues' shoulders. This is directed by Dimitri Logothedes, who also co-wrote the screenplay. He's also the writer behind several entries in the Kickboxer franchise, one of which he directed, and the entries he was involved in also starred Moussi. So this is a reunion between the two. And to be honest, I didn't know what to expect walking into this. I didn't even watch the trailer, but I knew it was advertised as being a martial arts film that also had aliens and wizards mixed in there, as well as Nicolas Cage. And we'll get more into him specifically in a minute. It kind of reminded me a bit of the film Triple Threat from last year, which also starred Tony Jaa, who was in this film as well. And the plots are nowhere near the same, but that film was essentially a who's who of martial artists turned actors all in one film, and was an excuse for them to all show off their martial arts skills. And this goes for something similar, being a mix of martial artists as well as action movie stars, though on a much smaller scale. You have Moussi, Jaa, Cage, as well as Juju and Frank Grillo all in the main cast. And again, this seems to be more of an excuse for a bunch of these actors to get together and perform a bunch of cool stunts and just have some fun with it. And whenever this centers on just being an action movie, it's actually not bad. I'm not saying the fight scenes were amazing by any means. There are countless movies that do it way better than this, but the scenes are fun for what they are. They're these over-the-top fights with cheesy special effects and characters making little quips in between, and it's extremely corny, and not all of these fights worked. Some were kind of painful to get through, to be honest. Like, there are a number of sequences that are presented from a first-person point of view, for example, that look extremely clunky. But most of these fight scenes do work, mainly for just how campy and silly they come across. And the movie seems to be fully aware of this and just leans into it as much as possible from start to finish. It felt like it was trying to be something in the vein of similarly campy 90s action movies like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. And the fact that the movie fully embraces this style and wasn't asking you to take it too seriously is why I didn't dislike it. Though at times it also tries to go for an 80s vibe as well, mainly the Predator movies. The antagonist here is essentially a knockoff version of the Predator that knows Jiu-Jitsu. It can blend into its surroundings like a chameleon, and we'll get several scenes where it's viewing its surroundings, and it's through this blue screen radar. It's even about the same height as the Predator. The only noticeable differences between this character and the actual Predator are its backstory and the fact it's more martial arts based. But because it was so silly, I found it fun, though I can see a lot of people getting mad over it, and list it as a reason that they didn't like the movie. And I get it. And I'll especially get it people don't like this because of the plot, because I'll be totally honest, the story makes little to no sense. It combines a lot of these different concepts and has no interest in exactly explaining all of them to the audience. Like, this alien who knows Jiu-Jitsu arrives on Earth once every 6 years and just wants to fight 9 people, not even specifically to the death, at least it's never explicitly said. But if the challenge is turned down, then it just goes on a rampage and kills everyone in its sight. And why it is that way, who knows? We don't get a clear reason why, and we really don't know who this secret Jiu-Jitsu organization is that goes to fight the alien. There's not much backstory to them, and what little we do find about them is glossed over in like a sentence or two. It's not a movie that's exactly interested in telling a compelling story, and normally that's a big reason why I'd write off a film, but because it really just wants you to have fun and leans more into its campy fight scenes as much as possible, I can sort of forgive the story issues. Doesn't make it an objectively good movie, but it makes it fun. However, it still does one thing in terms of plot that I did find truly aggravating. With Alain Moussi's character having amnesia and not knowing who anyone he comes into contact is, he serves as the audience surrogate, as everyone has to reintroduce themselves to him and in turn let the audience get to know who they are, as little as we do find out. But most of these conversations will be these repetitive exchanges where Moussi is not sure of something and his colleagues will go, "You don't remember? It was your plan. How do you not remember your plan?" Even though it's established early in the movie that he doesn't remember and it's been communicated to them, they get increasingly frustrated with how he doesn't recall something he said or did pre-memory loss. And it seems they think if they just keep saying in a snippy matter, "Well, how do you not remember? It was your idea," over and over again, it'll somehow help things. Like, I don't know what you're expecting from someone who says he lost his memory. The way they say it is almost in this "how dare you" manner, and it's done a lot throughout the movie. Like, almost every time it attempts to focus on the story. So that can be a major turnoff for a lot of people. But if you can overlook these moments, you have plenty of silly action scenes to enjoy that may make up for it. And then there's the one aspect which is the absolute best thing about the movie, no matter how you feel about everything else. Nicolas Cage. He's part of this group of fighters, but he's more of like the older mentor figure of the bunch, and he is exactly how you think Nicolas Cage would be in a movie like this. It isn't the most unhinged Cage performance we've seen, not by a long shot, but it's still Nicolas Cage in a campy, low-budget action movie that tries to not take itself too seriously. So you know it's going to be at least a little bit of fun. As usual, he goes big with a lot of his delivery, putting emphasis on lines that you wouldn't think needed much of an emphasis. And he also has these weird, eccentric sensibilities, like he has this random enjoyment of making paper hats out of newspapers. And he gets his fair share of action scenes where he gets to do these over-the-top hand gestures and lean into these silly body movements and grunt in a very exaggerated manner. And despite the many faults of this film, this can make up for some of them. I'm not saying this movie's amazing or anything. Its story makes little to no sense, mashing together martial arts, fantasy, and sci-fi into something that's not always coherent, and relies on some very repetitive and annoying conversations. And for that, people may hate this, but I saw it more of a so bad it's good film that's also self-aware of what it is. Its action scenes, as cheesy as they are, can be fun, and some of the story elements and little quips characters make are pretty funny. Plus, you have an eccentric, over-the-top performance from Nicolas Cage, which can atone for some of the movie's faults, if you're into watching Cage just do his thing on screen. It's not exactly a well-made movie, but from a pure fun standpoint, it can be worth a shot. Jiu Jitsu gets a 6.5 out of 10. So let me know, did you see Jiu Jitsu or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like the action scenes? Did you make any sense of the story? And what's your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll catch you next time.